But normally, contract is whatever you promise with someone, verbally or in written form. Contract again can be very small, as much small. For example, if we say to someone, our friend, that my brother, when you are coming, and he's asking that I'm coming in 5 minutes. So this is a contract. Normally we don't understand, we don't consider it as a contract, but practically it is a contract. And contracts start from here up to very big, very large contracts. And when we talk about Islamic finance and we talk about the contracts, it means we are talking about financial contracts. Contracts can be different forms: social contracts, ethical contracts, and financial contracts. But today we are going to discuss financial contracts. Those promises, those commitments, those agreements which we do with each other in which any financial activity is involved. So that is called the contract. Now, the difference between a contract and Islamic contract. Simply, we have discussed that every commitment is a contract. But what is an Islamic contract? Islamic contract means that contract which is Sharia compliant. Means all the conditions of the contract are Sharia binding, Sharia compliant, so that it is called an Islamic contract. To understand Islamic contract, first we have to understand the basic elements of an Islamic contract, how we can say it an Islamic contract. There are 4 basic conditions which has to be fulfilled to become an Islamic contract. First of all, the very first and basic agreement is offer and acceptance. Ijabu Kubul. Islamic contract start from offer and acceptance. It means that one party gives an offer to buy or sell something to other one, and second party accept that offer by his willingness. So offer and acceptance starts the Islamic contract, and then second thing comes the subject matter. Subject matter means for what commodity or what service you are going to do that contract. That is called the subject matter. For example, if you are going to sell any commodity, so that commodity becomes the subject matter. If you are going to sell your services, so your services become your subject matter. So in Islamic contract, subject matter must be clearly defined. It should be quantified. It should be all the details of the subject matter should be mentioned in the contract. Normally we do what? When we make the contracts of selling of anything, most of the people do what? They hide some things. They do not tell the truth to the customer. But Islamic contract says that you have to tell all the things, all the positive and negative things of the subject matter to the customer. The third thing is the price, the financial matter of the subject matter. Price again is very, very important in Islamic contract. You have to decide the price of the goods or services which you are going to sell before making the contract, and both parties must be agreed upon that. So price cannot be open. Normally we say, okay, you can pay me whatever you want. No, this is not a contract. You have to give the price, you have to accept the price, and you have to mention the price in the contract. And the last element is possession and delivery. Possession and delivery means that I cannot make a contract of that thing which I do not possess, or I cannot deliver it. Means I don't have the right to sell that good. For example, anything from this mosque I cannot sell. I cannot make the contract because I don't have the right to sell that product. I don't have the possession. I don't have the right to deliver. So I cannot make the contract. So first of all, you must have the commodity, you must have the service with you for which you are going to make the contract. And then you can sell it, you can offer to sell it, and you have to deliver that product as well. If you do not deliver the product, you cannot make the contract. So these are 4 essential parts: offer and acceptance, subject matter, price, and possession and delivery. In the absence of any one of these four essentials, the contract cannot be an Islamic contract. And then the difference between a contract, a normal contract, conventional contract and Islamic contract is that all the conditions of the contract must be Sharia compliant. For example, if I make a contract with any of you that brother come to my home and we will have a cup of tea, and the same contract which I made another friend that brother come to my home and we will drink wine. So can you tell me which contract is halal, which is haram? Tea. That is halal. And second one is haram. Why? Because nature of the contract is same. I'm inviting a friend, I'm offering a cup of tea, I'm offering a glass of wine. Contract is looking like same. And this is the confusion which comes into our mind, that the contracts of Islamic banks and contracts of conventional banks or conventional financial institutions, they look like same. But we have to understand that the conditions of the contract makes a contract halal or haram. Contract doesn't have the condition to have halal and haram. The conditions of the contract makes it halal or haram. So the condition of second contract is haram, the whole contract becomes haram. And the conditions of first contract is halal, so that contract becomes halal. So first law of the Islamic contract is that all the conditions of the contract must be Sharia compliant. If we have 100 conditions in a contract, 99 are Sharia compliant and only one is anti-Sharia, so that one condition makes the whole contract null and void. Unless we change that condition, unless we replace that condition, we cannot say that the whole contract is Islamic. All conditions of the contract must be Sharia compliant. Number two, those conditions can be a part of Islamic contract which can favor both the parties. Sometimes it happens that a condition is added into the contract which favors one party of the contract. If it favors one party of the contract, it cannot be treated as an Islamic contract. Islam says that both parties of the contract must be benefited. So those conditions can be part of the Islamic contract which favor both parties of the contract. And lastly, that condition which looks like in against of the contract, but it favors both the parties. It could be a new condition of the contract, but it favors both the parties. So in that case, that condition can also be included in the contract, and that contract still becomes an Islamic contract. So these are the rules. All conditions must be Sharia compliant. Those conditions can be added which can benefit both the parties, and that condition cannot become a part of Islamic contract which favors one of the parties of the contract. So these are three basic requirements of the conditions which can be added into Islamic contract. And there are four essentials. Again I repeat, offer and acceptance, subject matter, price, and possession and delivery. So these are the essentials of any Islamic contract. It doesn't mean that this Islamic contract must be signed in between a person and an Islamic financial institution, Islamic bank or something like that. This contract we can do with each other wherever we are doing any financial transaction. Usually we have to do the Islamic contract, and we have to follow all these rules, all these regulations, and all these conditions so that our contract could be an Islamic contract. I think I have explained. Now I welcome the questions from you regarding Islamic contract or any other topic. Yeah.
Subject, I wrote a book, Fundamental Islamic Economics.
That's good.
I did Master from Karachi University,
Mashallah.
Master from Michigan.
Mashallah.
I have published this book.
Very good. What's the name?
Fundamental Islamic Banking.
Okay.
So my question is that in this mosque many scholars come.
Okay.
Dr. Usmani Sahib came here 20 years ago. He said people have children, many children, and taking the house on mortgage. Somehow it is alive. Yusuf Rasai Sahib came, he says, just 3 years ago, after Ramadan, he said, I will not give fatwa. check house and mortgage. So could you please explain this delicate issue?
Yes, that's a very good question. Mortgage is a problem here, everywhere in the world as well, in Pakistan as well. So we have to understand what mortgage is. Basically, mortgage means that you buy something from any financial institution on a deferred payment. Means you have to pay later. Now again, if you buy a house or buy any commodity from a conventional bank and from an Islamic bank, if you see that you can think that the contract is almost same. The activity is same. You can buy a house, you can buy a car. But as I mentioned earlier, we have to check the conditions of the contract. By the way, how many of you have read account opening form when you have opened a bank account? How many of you read that account opening form? No one. You just signed it, okay? Whether we open a bank account in conventional bank or in Islamic bank. But next time, I give you an assignment that you must read the account opening form, which is the first step to enter into any contract. Simply I can tell you that when you sign an account opening form of a conventional bank, that contract says that you are giving loan to the bank and you don't have any authority to check where your investment has gone, what the bank do with your money. Whatever he is earning, he has to give you a certain profit. But when you open an account in an Islamic bank, the contract says that you are entering into a muzaraba contract. You are not giving the loan to a bank. You are entering into a muzaraba contract. Muzaraba means that you have to pay the amount, you are the Rabbul Mal, and the bank is muzarib. Bank is working as your agent. So you have to make the initial contract with your bank, that you are giving the amount as an investor, not as a loan. So whatever the bank will do that amount, that should be Sharia compliant, and then whatever he will earn, the bank will share the profit with you as well. So this contract starts from the beginning, at the time of account opening form. Then comes the mortgage. Again, the contract of the mortgage, that makes it halal or haram. Again, I must say that whenever you want to buy something from any bank, you have to read all pages of the contract. Normally we don't do it, but you have to. If you are conscious about Islamic trade, Islamic buying, so you have to read the contract. When you buy a house from a conventional bank, again bank gives you loan. Bank doesn't give you the commodity, the tangible asset. Bank gives you loan, and you have to repay your loan at a certain rate. So that becomes the basic type of riba, which is riba nasiya, which has been prohibited by Almighty Allah in Holy Quran, in 4 surahs. But in Islamic bank, when you buy any commodity through Islamic bank or Islamic financial institution, that becomes a musharaka contract. Musharaka means that bank and you becomes the partner of that commodity or that product which you are going to buy, whether that is a house or a car, and then that becomes a diminishing musharaka. Diminishing musharaka means that bank willingly diminish its part, banks willingly diminish its share and sell to you in monthly installments. It means that in every month, whatever installment you are paying to the bank, you are purchasing the share of the bank, because bank is willingly diminish its share, and along with that you are going to pay the rent of the commodity or the agreed profit which you have agreed at the time of the contract. So in both cases it is permissible and it is halal, and this is the practice which is in practice throughout the world right now, alhamdulillah.
But the percentage, how they put the percentage according to the government, US government, 3%, 5%, it's not, they go this way, they accept this percentage.
Okay, that's another good question. Normally there are, internationally we use LIBOR, London Interbank Offer Rate, and in Pakistan we use KIBOR. So that's another question, that why Islamic banks use LIBOR or KIBOR. Keep in mind that LIBOR or CIBOR is just a benchmark. It's not more than a benchmark. Keep in mind that Islamic bank or Islamic financial institution has to calculate its profit on a certain benchmark. For example, kilogram and or pound. It's a benchmark. You can measure 1 kg of any halal thing or 1 kg of any haram thing. So kg itself is not halal and haram. Kg is a benchmark. Similarly, mile or kilometer is a benchmark. Similarly, liter or in liquid form, to measure any liquid thing, liter is a benchmark. You can measure water in liter, you can measure wine in liter. So these are the benchmarks. So benchmark doesn't mean that if you follow any benchmark of any conventional bank, for example LIBOR or in Pakistan CIBOR, I don't know what is in US. So it doesn't mean that this benchmark makes that contract haram. Because you have to, when for example, if we enter into a musharaka contract, for example, we both invest into any product, in any business, so we have to decide that how we should distribute our profit. It could be in number of amount, it could be in percentage, it could be in proportion, it could be in fraction. So there might be any formula, we have to decide. So that formula itself is not halal and haram. So that formula is only used to calculate the profit.
No, sir, if it is fixed, then it's haram.
Again, if we talk about the musharaka contract or diminishing musharaka contract of Islamic bank, it is not fixed. Because in diminishing musharaka, because you are buying the share of the profit of the bank every month. So your ownership is increasing, the bank's ownership is decreasing. So the profit or rent which you are paying, that is also decreasing. So that is not the fix. In that case, it is permissible.
I'm sorry, brother. And go back to what the brother said.
Yeah.
In advance, it's already pre-calculated. So there's no way to say it's not fixed. So before even the bank, Islamic banking, Islamic finance, comes to you and give you any product, they already calculated their benefit, and that's what you said, how much you will earn, and then you said that's just something which is normal. So going back into the concept, the bank or the Islamic banking already know from the very beginning, I'm going to put this much interest, and that's how I'm going to calculate, and that's how I'm going to sell you these. What comes after the musharaka, that you pay in the rent and all that, that comes after, because the contract is already based on that rate that they put in the beginning. You could correct me if I am wrong.
No, it is not the case.
Yep.
It is purely profit or loss. If there is profit, they can share the agreed profit, percentage of agreed profit. If it is a loss, both the parties have to face the loss.
Yes. Yes.
It cannot be profit only.
I'm not talking about profit. I'm talking about the bank. When the bank wants to sell you a house, I want this house. So it costs, let's say, $200,000. I went to the bank and I told them, I want to buy this one. What are you going to tell me? We're going to sell it to you. We're going to buy it and we're going to resell it to you. Now, once they want to resell it to me, they're not going to sell it to me with 200. They're going to put a rate there of interest from the very beginning. So that house, it becomes 250, which is a fixed rate from the very beginning. That's my concern.
Yeah, it is riba. Taking a single dollar on the sale with the time is riba.
Yes.
How you differentiate between taking a finance from a bank, conventional bank, or the Islamic bank? If we buy a house from an Islamic finance, other than the conventional bank, what is the difference and how we can,
Okay.
how you can prove that it is not haram?
Okay, fine. The brother says that bank calculate its profit or interest in advance. Okay. Now that's the important thing. For example, this is a product and I'm going to sell it. And you offer the price $100,000 in cash. So I just take $1,000 from you and give this product to him. Now the second person comes to me and he says that I want to buy this product but on deferred payment. Okay? I have to pay you in 10 years and 20 years. Okay? Now in this case, definitely I have to face the loss. Because I'm giving my product, I'm giving my commodity to him, he will use it and he'll get it economic benefit.
Yes.
So, okay, but my amount is scattered. So Islam says that no one has to face the loss. If he is getting benefit, I have the right to get the benefit. So I can offer him that, okay, if you are going to buy it on deferred payment, I'll sell it to you for 1,50,000. So that is an agreed price. That is not interest.
That is Islamically
Yes,
agreed upon.
yes.
It's called bay'li ajal.
Exactly.
What I'm talking about now, this is not a product. This is a specific thing, which is you put it this way or the other one. It looks like a loan, but we are changing the wording.
Let me interfere.
Somebody said,
Yes.
I said, this is my ear.
Yeah.
Actually, this is mine.
Yes.
But I turn all the way and I said, yeah.
Yes. The beauty of Islamic finance is that in Islamic finance you have to sell the commodity. You cannot sell the money because money is not a commodity. That's the basic difference in between conventional Islamic banks. Conventional banks treat money as a commodity. They sell money on a profit. But in Islamic finance, we cannot sell money. We cannot treat money as a commodity. We have to make the contract of any commodity. Other than commodity, there is no Islamic finance.
So
Yes.
you mentioned one of the conditions both parties equally benefited, right? And most of contract I see, even in Pakistan, in Saudi, one party is more beneficial than other one. And you have to accept it if you need it.
True.
So why this Islamic contract is not popular in Islamic countries?
Yes, of course. As per the conditions of the contract, both parties should be benefited. But sometimes it happens, you are right, that there are certain conditions which the customer has to accept. Okay? But in Islam, whether you are accepting by your will or not, that condition becomes a valid condition. Because when you are going to sign the contract, it means you are accepting it. Whether you are accepting it by your heart or not. Okay? But when you are signing it, it means you are accepting.
Yeah, so but this condition is not, important.
Yes, of course, but definitely, this is the prerequisite. This is the prerequisite, but sometimes it happens, I'm agreed with you, sometimes it happens that some conditions, the customer, is not easy to accept those conditions, but whenever he signs the contract, it means that he has accepted. So when he is accepted, Islam says, now it is correct.
Like rental contract in Pakistan, right?
Oh, which one?
Rental,
Rental, yes, of course.
mostly like on the landlord,
Exactly. There is a condition in rental contract in Pakistan.
That is why Islamic contract is not popular.
Uh,
There is something wrong.
Why people have doubt about it? Why you cannot, just clear the doubt? Because we still are in doubt that whether we should buy Islamic finance here.
No, Alhamdulillah, I am here to clear your doubts.
We are here.
You can ask him as many questions as you can.
Nobody, I don't
Yeah,
think anybody.
remember, brother, there are different products.
Yes.
And the brother is talking in general. But every organization or every banking has a different system, has a different merchandise, has a
Yes.
different. So he's just talking about in general.
Yes.
And then you have to deal with each one. Like here in America, we have Lariba, we have guidance, we have Islamic finance. Each one of them have a different kind of topic.
Exactly,
So if you want
exactly.
to go with him, we'll stay until Fajr inshallah.
Yes, exactly.
Fajr together, then go.
Exactly. But the mechanism of all these Islamic financial institutions is same. Whether that is guidance or Lariba, the mechanism, the product design is same.
Which makes it haram? What makes it haram?
As I mentioned earlier, that the contract, only the contract makes any activity halal or haram. As I given you an example, that inviting a friend on a cup of tea or inviting a friend on a glass of wine, all looking like same, but the condition is different in both contracts. So that one contract is halal and second one is haram. Like marriage contract, nikah, that is the best example of Islamic contract. No one can give any other example other than nikah. So only single one sentence. So that makes a physical relation of a man and woman halal, and without that contract haram. So that's the best example. So contract and conditions of the contract makes any activity halal or haram. Therefore, I am saying that before signing any contract, you have the right as well, you must read the contract, that which contract you are going to sign. If any bank, whether that Islamic or non-Islamic, I am not representing an Islamic bank, I am giving the principles. Okay? So before going to enter into any contract, that's your right, that you have to read all the conditions of the contract. If all the conditions are Sharia compliant, it means that is Islamic contract and that is an Islamic bank. Otherwise not.
The brother made it so easy right now. So if you are planning, you're going to take his phone number.
Inshallah.
You're going to bring him the contract and then you will let
Inshallah, I have all the contracts with me. No problem.
Contracts are one-sided.
Yes?
All the contracts are one-sided. No way to escape.
I can't say that all contracts are one-sided. I can't say. When I have answered the brother's question, sometimes it happens that the financial institution put some conditions which are looking like in their favor, but the problem is that whenever the customer accept it and sign it, that becomes a valid contract. Even though that the condition is in the favor of the bank, I understand that, but when you have the right to cancel that contract, you have the right to not enter into that contract. But when you enter into a contract, it means you have accepted it.
How you open the bank account, how you will survive in this community.
For that, I have I mentioned earlier that you must read the account opening form before signing the contract of opening an account. Then you get the difference in between conventional Islamic bank. In conventional bank, there is a loan contract. In Islamic bank, there is a musaraba contract, trading contract, business contract. So you enter into a business with the bank.
When you buy the house Islamic, they give you the down payment.
Okay.
They give down payment, let's say from their own banking. But they sell your contract to the Fannie Mae and those guys. Is it right or wrong? Because then they are charging interest on the commercial basis. Most of the Islamic finance do the same thing. They get the money from Fannie Mae and those.
No problem. The activity which bank is doing with you, if that is correct, it means your contract is correct. No problem. That's their problem, not yours. That is their problem, not yours.
I'm just joining with him.
Okay.
My question.
Yeah.
They are selling us the penny. I have a contract with now the couple one is the guidance.
Okay.
I have, let's say, I don't have though, but I'm going to contact with guidance. The guidance is selling me just continuing for 2-3 months, and then I have to contact. I have a contract with Freddie Mae.
Okay.
So in that case, those companies, those who work here.
So those companies are conventional?
Yes,
So that's not true. That's not correct.
They are Islamic. They are Islamic finance company.
Okay.
Those guidance, let's say guidance. So they are saying that they are announcing themselves we are Islamic. So when I go there, they said that okay, all the contract, the when we start, all the elements is there, it's good. But later we see that the conditions, indirectly or directly, the first scenario, they are not appearing here, the Fannie Mae. Later, after 2-3 months, they just selling us. Guidance is selling us to the Fannie Mae.
They go to US bank.
So Fannie Mae is a conventional bank?
Fannie Mae not only conventional, here two companies.
Huh? Okay.
US, there is two companies. Those who control the central account with the central bank. Account with the central bank, all those amounts comes through them, those two companies.
True.
From them, this guidance or whatever
Okay.
companies are there, they take the money, they are investing in us. But later, I don't have any problem if they are straight with me or for the whatever year we have. When they switch it to the different part, that's the problem.
Yes, of course, if a guidance is an Islamic financial institution, but that is involving any conventional institution along with that is not correct. That is not correct.
First time when you go there, we don't understand. Really this thing.
So they must change their methods. They must.
There's another
Yes.
There's another thing.
No, I'm not blaming it, that's why I'm saying
Okay.
There's not a
Guidance. Any of those called Islamic institutions don't have that much money.
Yes.
So you're talking about billions of dollars.
Yes.
So even if you're talking about just a few hundred houses, do you think guidance or any Islamic institution have that much funds?
No.
So what do? Once they sell 10, 20, 30, what they take? They resell it
True,
okay, to
true.
the big guy.
Okay.
And then they keep buying again and resell it to the big guys.
So my question is here is my question. Not all of these numbers.
Okay.
My question is, since I know when it comes to my knowledge that they are selling us or they are taking the money, the central source, the real source of their money is from there. So is that okay to go with this?
No, not at all.
Or there's another concept. I don't know. Sheikh is here and you are also
Yes.
here. You both are here. You can answer that.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
So the thing is, I mean, when we can go with this institution, I mean, go to 100%, first of all.
Yes.
And there's another concept, is ulama, some of the ulamas, they are separating here that the first house, whatever it is, you can buy it here. So once riba is always riba. That's what
Yes, of course.
I don't know.
The first sip of wine is
So my question is,
Yes.
if I know that they are taking money from this side, or if it comes to my knowledge, is that okay to continue this, or just staying with the thought?
No, that's not correct. If you have come to know that the contract is violating by the Islamic financial institution, as I told you earlier, I'm not representing any Islamic financial institution, okay? I'm giving you the principles only. So if any Islamic bank or Islamic financial institution doing this, definitely that is not in Islamic. But again the question is, whatever you're saying, that first house is allowed. No, riba is riba. Whether that is first house or last house, whatever that is. So in this case, I can suggest that you have to sacrifice, you don't have to go to the conventional financial institution as well. Whatever the condition is, you don't have to go to the conventional. Because riba, that is the war in against Allah and Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Make any kind of legal, does it give any legality to this kind of condition? I can go for the guidance, that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
If the situation is like that, I don't know what the situation, you guys will know better because you are
It's not what we know or what we don't know. It's something very clear. But let's put it differently. Me and you, every day, we go and we buy from Food Plus. Do we know in advance that the source of the money of Food Plus is all based on what?
But when we know,
You already know.
that's how I'm saying.
You don't have any other option.
Okay.
But I don't want to put that there. I'm just talking about what you
Yeah,
said,
that-
the concept. I know in advance that person is money. I go, let's say, to Home Depot.
Yeah, that's true. No, because the sense I can say the house I rent now, how he made it,
Well,
it's
that's
okay.
the same
But I
way.
just went there, I just made the contract and
True.
I was doing everything.
So don't
Yes,
worry.
in that case, it's okay.
If I die and you die without paying a house,
Which house?
that's not
And I can give you another example. For example, if you are working in an organization which has been constituted on interest-based amount, you know that the whole business has been set up on interest-based loan. But the activity which is doing there, that is halal. And you are working as an employee over there. Your salary will be halal, inshallah. But the profit of the organization for the owner, that will be haram. So in this case, maybe you can solve your question. Okay? Yes.
In Pakistan, we have profit and loss accounts, right? And most
Those are closed now. No profit and loss account right now. We have only current accounts and fixed accounts. Profit and loss account was started in 80s by Zaul Haq.
even that was not,
No, that was not Islamic. That was not Islamic.
and this is the current one that you were saying.
Yeah, current account and fixed deposit account. We have two accounts right now in Pakistan. Current accounts. On current accounts, you do not get any profit because you are currently managing your bank account. And in saving accounts or fixed deposit accounts, you get a certain profit. Again, what the contract you are signing with the bank. If a conventional bank, definitely that is a fixed profit rate and a loan account. So whatever the profit you get, that is interest riba. And the profit from Islamic bank, because you are going to enter into a contract which is again based on muzaraba. Muzaraba means you are giving amount to the bank and you are authorizing them to do business with that amount and give you share of the profit. Not the profit on investment, profit from the profit is the difference. If someone is paying you profit on investment, that is interest, that is riba. But if you give me a percentage on profit, that is halal.
You have any example where you can say, okay, this is model for finance, Islamic finance?
Here in US or Pakistan?
Pakistan, Saudi, anywhere.
Yes.
So I don't see big charitable bodies, which is technically working.
No, Alhamdulillah, all Islamic banks which are working not only in Pakistan but all over the world, they are, as I told you earlier, that they are working on a similar mechanism. The back end, the system is same everywhere, not in Pakistan only, in everywhere. And the second, I remember that we are also, eliminating LIBOR or KIBOR. We are working, IFE. Have you ever heard the word IFE? Accounting or Auditing Organization, Islamic Financial Institution, that is in Bahrain. I'm the part of that as well, Alhamdulillah. And we are working on Islamic Bank Offering Rate. Okay, IBOR. So this problem will be solved by 1st January 2026, inshallah ta'ala. So then we will no use LIBOR or KIBOR or something like that. The benchmark will be changed.
And this is for every bank here in the US too?
Everywhere in the world. Because the rules and the accounting standards, auditing standard, IFE has to be, obeyed by all the Islamic banks in the world. Yes, brother? Palestine.
Can you talk a little bit about investing in the stock market specifically? How much conviction do you have to have in a company before it becomes gambling, number one? Number two, you're talking about contracts. Can you talk more about shorting? And, there has to be benefit on both sides. I mean, like economic consideration, obviously. But how much research has to go into that? Are there certain risk parameters that have been defined by Islamic finance before you can enter into a short contract through these professions?
Okay. For stock market, investing in stock market is permissible. But you have to, but you have to make sure certain things. Number one, you cannot buy investing in stock market means you are buying the ownership of any organization. So you cannot buy the ownership of that organization which is doing haram business. Okay. So first of all, you have to be very certain, you have to be very choosy that you select that organization which is doing halal business, number one. Number two, there are again certain conditions. One is called short selling. Short selling means you do not physically purchase shares and you do not sell physically shares. Sometimes you do it on phone call. Okay, buy it, sell it. So that is called short selling in stock market. That is not permissible. Okay, you have, as I mentioned earlier, possession and delivery. That is a condition. So first of all, you have to get the shares in physical form and then you can sell it. If you do not do it, that transaction becomes, haram in stock market. And number three, whenever you buy shares in the market, you have two rights. Even you can keep those shares with you and you get the profit. Number one condition again the same, that the business must be Sharia compliant. It means whatever the profit you will get, that will be Sharia compliant. And number two, you can sell the share, you can sell your ownership anytime in the market whenever you get the profit. So in stock market, in these conditions, it is permissible, otherwise not.
And I say something, what is the stock market? The stock market is stock and bond. Bond, let me say, bond, the profit comes from the interest. And stock is speculation. It's Urdu about the sattabazi.
Yes.
And Amara Modi wrote in detail in his book, Interest. So, and how the stock works, like Robert Murdoch. Like I'm giving you one example. Chrysler wants to sell his share, in higher price. What they did, they announced in the Wall Street that we are going to sell our shares $49 to $49. Market shoots up. In 2 days, millions of dollars of transaction. This is called how the speculation works. And next Monday, they have a meeting. They say, no, we are not selling any share. We will remain on $29 per share. See how this is, they make the people fool. Islam does not allow this.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. First of all, stocks and bonds are different. Stocks is equity, bonds are liability. And liability, whenever you buy bonds, that is a liability. And the interest on liability, profit on liability is interest. That is riba. That is confirmed. But when you invest in equity, in shares, in stocks, as I mentioned earlier, that you buy the ownership of any organization. So that is not the liability. That's a different. And again, I'm agreed with the brother that sometimes it happens that, in market, there are speculations, which is a form of gambling as well. Okay, but again, the problem is that according to a hadith, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the najish means that person who speculates. So najish, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that he is Jahannami. Okay, he will go to hell because he speculate the price of the product, of the commodity. So if there is a speculation element, you have to avoid. Otherwise, if there is a fair transaction in stock market, you can buy it with the certain conditions I mentioned earlier, that the business must be Sharia compliant. Okay, and the profit which is given by the organization to you as a dividend, that must be Sharia compliant, that must be halal. In this form you can buy, otherwise you have to avoid.
I just have a quick follow-up. For speculation, so are you saying that conviction is necessary before you buy stock? Because, like if it was gambling, then everyone would make money randomly, but in reality you have asset managers who are consistently making money in all various types of economic backdrop, right? So obviously there is a conviction component. So as Muslims, we need to have conviction, number one. And number two, what do you think about working at a hedge fund?
Working as?
Working at a hedge fund.
Hedge fund? Hedge fund. Okay. First of all, you are quite right that everyone, again, I remember a hadith from Holy Prophet ﷺ. He said that there will be a certain time on my ummah that everyone will earn money, but he will not think that this is halal or haram. So I think we are right now in that phase of time. Definitely we have to be very, very careful for earning each dollar, for earning each rupee, because we have to give the answer to Almighty Allah. You must have heard that hadith that Allah will ask 4 questions before entering into paradise, and out of those 4 questions, one question should be that Allah Almighty says that, oh my human being, I have given you mal, I have given you money, tell me the source of income and source of the expenditures. So we have to give the answer to Almighty Allah. Every amount which we earn or every amount which is spent, we are answerable to Almighty Allah. So we should be very, very careful while earning money, and definitely in this period of time where all economic activities are based on interest, based on riba, we have to avoid, we have to make sure that we should keep ourselves away from Nari Jahannam, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that there must come a time when everyone will take riba, and the person who will try to avoid from it, he will be successful. So we have to avoid in any case. Okay, whether there are transactions in market which are based on interest, as we are answerable to Almighty Allah by our own deeds, not all the society, not all the community. So we have to avoid all those transactions which are interest based.
So sorry, wait, can I get some sort of clearance from that? I mean, are there certain investing styles that are halal, like if you're working for a long only shop versus a long short versus, obviously, I guess distressed debt is probably always haram. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Yes, of course. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we have, before investing in any business, before investing in any financial institution, we have to study the mechanism of that organization carefully. Normally we do what? That we focus on profit only. That which organization giving you more profit, and we invest in that organization. But if we are very much concerned, if we are very much conscious, we have to give in the detail that what type of organization it is, what type of business activity it is doing. So before investing into any business, we have to get the details of that business, because if we want to buy anything, if we want to buy a pair of shoes, we go 10 shops, we visit 10 shops to select a pair of shoes. But whenever we are going to invest to get profit, we do not bother. We invest anywhere.
Sorry, I didn't mean like investing in a hedge fund. I mean working for a hedge fund.
Hedge finance.
Yeah, like working for the bank. Like working for either a long only hedge fund or a long short or a distressed debt fund, maybe private equity. Yeah.
Okay. So as the activity of any conventional financial institution is not halal, so working there is also not halal. And that is again in the light of that hadith, very famous hadith, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the payer of interest, the receiver of interest, okay, the writer of the interest, and the witness of that transaction, all are alike. Okay, so you cannot work in any conventional financial institution, not allowed.
What are your thoughts of like a gold standard? Do you think that fiat currency has devalued money and we should move back to a gold standard?
No, that is not the certain condition. Gold standard, previously we have gold as a commodity and as medium of exchange as well. By the passing of time, gold has been removed, a paper currency, and then now plastic currency we are using, okay? So only gold currency is not Islamic currency, keep in mind. Currency has no religion. If you say gold is Islamic currency,